Halbrook here with Main Street Sports, another baseball preview on its way here. We have Coach Zach Weiss from the Crystal City Hornets. Coach, how you doing, sir?
Doing good. Thanks for having us on here.
Appreciate it. A couple of years ago, obviously you weren't the coach a couple of years ago, but 2-13 on your record. Obviously, COVID was took you out of the 2020 season, but you do have for the 2021 season here returning seniors Logan Anderson, Chase Coleman, Drew Place, and Hunter Basson. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just wanted to ask how the health is of the Crystal City Hornets right now, and how you guys looked in practice so far.
So far, everything's been going well. We've got a group of guys right now that are really buying into what we're trying to do. The seniors have done a really nice job leading these guys. Fortunately, I know a few of these guys from football this last fall. They know what I expect, so they've done a really good job of taking over and making sure the younger guys are on board. Right now, we're able to stay healthy. We've been outside quite a few days, which has helped. That's
good. That's good. Have you been able to get enough quality practices in?
Yeah, we have. We definitely, especially the first week, we were able to get out and get a lot of good work in. Our basketball guys were fortunate enough to win districts, so we didn't get them for a few days. But the moment that they came out, it made a huge impact for us. Tempo immediately amped up. Those guys obviously we're in condition, so that helps a lot too. We don't have to waste a lot of time on things like that. We can really get down to our fundamentals on the field.
Do you feel because of the shutdown last year, there's a steeper learning curve this year for the players? Maybe like understanding the fundamentals, being able to, emphasize repetition fundamentals more than usual from the past years?
I do. To be honest, being out of coaching for 4 years, I was definitely shocked when I came in to see how much these guys really missed out on last year. COVID was something that obviously tremendously impacted our entire country, and on a small scale, we're talking baseball fundamentals, but it definitely had a big impact. So we spent the majority of the first week really trying to go and basically go back to where they were 2 years ago. There's a few workouts they got in last year, but then once the Jamboree hit, it was shut down. So I was hoping that wouldn't be the case, but unfortunately it definitely is.
Yeah, absolutely. Talk about your pitchers a little bit here. What is your pitching staff going to look like? And as far as conditioning, are their arms in shape?
To be honest, there's when it comes to mind, we played 2 games to this point, and I think we threw 7 guys just in 2 games. I'm very adamant about making sure that even if they feel that their arms are in shape at this point in the season, they're not, and that's to be expected. So these guys have done a real nice job of, if I ask them to do something extra for arm care, they've done that. So we haven't had a lot of complaints about arm soreness and things. However, especially having that last year off in the spring and into most of the summer, their arms are definitely not in condition, but it's not something that we won't get to in a couple weeks. We just got to be careful up until that point.
How many guys on your roster was able to play organized baseball last summer? Do you know that?
I think right now 4 or 5. I don't want to lie to you. I know at least 4 of them, but a lot of them, the problem they came into was the moment that COVID happened, and then they were going to go rejoin. A lot of them play football in the fall, or they're getting into AAU basketball in the fall. So the summer really not even getting started until after July 4th really put a hindrance on what they could do. So we unfortunately, I think we only had just those handful of guys that were able to do that in the summer.
Yeah, it's understandable, definitely. What do you feel like some of your strengths are right now, and what do you think your individual team's identities or style of play is going to look like this season for the Crystal City Hornets?
The biggest thing that I've seen with these guys so far is their ability to, if Coach Bowles and if we ask them to do something, there's no questions. They immediately do it. I think that our identity will be a group that, from what I've seen early on in our first couple weeks of practices and from what I saw in our first 2 games, they are fundamentally they're sound. Clearly, they make mistakes, especially early in the season. But overall, I think our biggest identity is going to be the fact of we can go out and execute routine plays in the field and in the box. They've had a really good approach. So hopefully we can put some pressure on guys by forcing other teams when we put the ball in play, and we can run a little bit.
Sounds good for the Crystal City Hornets there. Name some up-and-coming athletes you might be poised to have a breakout season for you. I know you're talking a lot to the, you're probably going to be leaning on a little bit of your seniors there, and Logan Anderson, Chase Coleman, Drew Place, and Hunter Basson. But maybe a freshman, sophomore that's kind of caught your eye this year.
We've got a real nice group of guys, really 9 through 11. To name individuals at the moment, Kyle Schaumburg has he was our quarterback this fall. Got a phenomenal mentality about himself. He's a kid that you can tell him literally to play anywhere on the field, and he'll just say okay, and he'll go out and do it. Callaway Dashner, again, a kid on the football field that I immediately fell in love with because he doesn't shy away from anything, and that's something I've preached with these guys when I took over. I'm just tired of hearing about this school or that school, or I don't. That doesn't matter to me. And I'm hoping that some of these guys, I'm seeing this mentality, and I'm hoping that they're taking that upon themselves because they've got the capability to go out and do whatever they want. And they just, the football guys especially have a very tough mentality. And I think a lot of that stems from their ability just to go out and compete every week on Friday nights. And then the basketball guys, I mean, my gosh, they go out and they win a district title.
Right.
And I was very impressed with their mentality the moment they hit the field. Nate Pruno, he's a junior, but he's been such a leader for us, and he was a leader on the basketball floor. And then another one, Clay Rusin, is a kid who just really came out and shocked me because he's a real quiet kid. But he's really shown me the ability to, again, play multiple positions, which is huge for us.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate catching up with you and getting updates on the Crystal City Hornets baseball team. We will have you on a few of our games here, so we appreciate you being able to get together and catch up with new coach here, Zach Weiss. And again, thanks for being on today.
Absolutely. I appreciate all you guys do for us.
Hey, thanks. That's Coach Zach Weiss from the Crystal City Hornets. In here.
Yep.
Hey, Ray Halbrook here from Main Street Sports, and we have another baseball preview. We're here with Coach Corey Sauer from the St. Vincent Indians. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Real good. We just wanted to catch up with the St. Vincent Indians, and you've got quite a few seniors coming back here. Let me get the list out here. John Wibbenmeyer, Philip Ernst, Jacob Gromid, Owen Light, Sean Pyle, Jacob Schnurbush, Jackson Religert, and Brendan Moonier, all returning for you. So you've got a pretty good senior class there to lead your Indians. We just wanted to catch up and ask how the health of the team's going.
Yeah, we've got a pretty good group of seniors. It's nice to have a big class. For us, a big class anyway, being a small school. Health-wise, we're pretty good. Unfortunately, first day outside, Blake Snurbush decided he needed to find a hole and fracture his ankle. But
oh no!
Other than that, everybody else has been pretty good so far.
Well, we hope that he's not doing too bad.
Things we didn't know was
Kind of one of them things,
yeah, he'll be
right?
back fairly early. Give him a couple
Good.
weeks yet. He'll be ready
Yeah.
to go.
Good,
Right,
good, good.
right.
Have you been able to get quality practices outside this season?
Yeah, that first week we were outside quite a bit. In the gym a little bit here and there, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. It's been a decent spring so far to start, so we've been lucky.
Yeah, and you get your basketball players back. I'm sure that's going to be a help. And have they had much of a curve of getting conditioned for baseball?
No, for the most part, our guys came in great shape. As always, we've got athletes that play football and basketball, and our coaches on those sides do a great job of making sure they're in shape, ready to go. So they pretty well hit the ground running. It's been nice.
Very good, very good. Because of the shutdown, obviously, wanted to ask this question: has there been a steeper learning curve for the players this year, as far as understanding how your team plays the game, and has there been more emphasis on repetition and fundamentals than usual?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of reps, a lot of just going over the basics early on, just get everybody back in a groove. A whole year off is not good for anything, and it was tough to start. I wouldn't say it was an issue. It was just, hey, let's get back to square one here, break it down step by step, and get moving that way instead of, hey, let's get into this defense right off the bat like we normally do. So it's been a bit of a transition, but it's been fine.
Well, good for you. Hope that learning curve gets tightened up pretty quick here. And we'll talk a little bit about your pitchers real quick here. Pitching staff. As far as your pitchers are concerned, arm conditioning right now, I'm sure is kind of a concern. Has your pitchers been on track as far as the conditioning is concerned, and what is your starting rotation might look like?
Yeah, they've been okay. We started slow. I'm not going to push guys too much early on just because of the fact that they haven't played in a year. Um, but no, they're fine. Rotation wise, John Wibbemeyer threw yesterday. He's going to be one of our normal starters. Liam Krause was going to go today. Unfortunately, got rained out. He's another guy that we're going to look to start some games. A few other guys, maybe Jacob Kapp, Lucas Schilling. We've got a lot of arms, so we don't necessarily have a rotation narrowed down today, but we're working through that. We've got, like I said, a lot of arms capable of starting or relieving whatever we may be or may need, depending on schedule tightness with rain and stuff like that. So,
Well, it's a good problem to have plenty of arms there. How many? Do you know how many guys you might have had that was able to play organized ball over the summer?
we didn't have a whole lot. Our Legion season kind of got canceled like everything else. We had a few guys just playing pickup games, if you will, on some evening nights just to kind of stay in rhythm with it. But we really didn't have a whole lot of organized baseball, unfortunately. Just one of those things you don't really know what to do when stuff like that happens. So everybody kind of laid low and stayed away from each other for a little bit. So
Right, right, right. What do you feel like might be some of your strengths coming into your training, spring training, I guess, if you will? I know you probably got games going right now, but some strengths that you guys got for the St. Vincent Indians, and what do you think your individual team's identity, style of play is going to look like?
sure. Really, we've got a bunch of guys that just love to play the game. I mean, I can't speak enough on how much they've been willing to work these first couple weeks here. Um, we've got guys that are super aggressive on the bases. We've got guys that swing the bat well. We've got guys that are aggressive on the mound. It's just kind of an overall good atmosphere, good team effort all the way around. What are we going to do strength wise? Like I said, we're going to be aggressive on the bases. We're going to try to manufacture runs as best we can. We don't have a whole lot of guys that are big power guys, so a little bit of small ball mixed in there, stealing some bases, whatever we got to do to get runs across. Pitching wise, we're going to come right after you. That's kind of been my MO for the last 4 or 5 years is just, hey, here's what I got. Come hit it if you can get it, and our defense is going to back them up. So
Well, there you go. Good game plan there. Final question for you. Name some up and coming athletes who may be poised to have a breakout season for you, specifically some of your youngsters, maybe a freshman or sophomore that you might see right now. It's having a good beginning of the season here.
sure, just a few names that come to mind right off the bat. Liam Krause, I mentioned him being in the rotation. He's a sophomore. He's going to be a pretty big piece. Good bat, good arm. We're looking for some big things for him this year and the next few. Another couple guys. You say young guys, but with missing last year, my juniors missed their sophomore season, so I've got a couple juniors, Jacob Kapp, Lucas Schilling, that are going to be in the starting lineup pretty well every day. Looking for some big stuff for them too. We also have a senior that came out this year in Philip Ernst. He hasn't played since 8th grade, and
Wow.
looks like he really hasn't missed a beat. He hit one out last night, just on a whim, just raw power, and we're looking for something from him too. It's nice to have him out. So
Those are good problems, right?
absolutely.
There you have it. Well, we appreciate you catching up with us here, and I know we've got a few games that we've got you guys involved with this season, and looking forward to catching up with you then.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing you guys. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks so much. That's Corey Sauer from the St. Vincent Indians. Hey, Ray Halbrook here from Main Street Sports, and we have another baseball preview here. We're here with Coach Ryan Dickerman from the Herculaneum Black Hats. How you doing, Coach?
Doing well, man. Doing real well.
Good. New face, but not so new face. I know you've been the assistant coach for a long time, and you've taken over for Coach Zach Bone, who's moved on to Jefferson College, part of the Jefferson College Vikings this season. And just wanted to see how things are going over in Black Cat land.
Well, so far so good, I guess we could say. Weather hasn't been ideal, but we're playing baseball this year, right? So that's all that matters. After that crazy year last year, I think our kids are just excited to have it again. It's tough being inside so far, but we're making the best of it and trying to get better each day and just going one day at a time because like we've always told them, especially after last year, that you'll never know when it's taken away. As we saw last year, how fast it just was out of our hands. We could not do nothing about it. So I'm just kind of one day at a time and, get in there, get our work done and, get to the next day.
I agree, and absolutely, you're absolutely right about we're being able to play this season. That's a huge win for high school baseball, especially. We'll recap the season from 2 years ago here, 12-10-1 on the record. And you have seniors coming back in Bryce Hall, Cole Myers, Aaron Payne, and David Teague. Let me just ask you real quick on the health of the team and how they've looked in practices in your first few games this season.
Our health is pretty good. We haven't really had any, arm injuries or anybody hanging too much. We've kind of, like I said, really started easy. We have a lot of guys that do stuff in the off season, but that's not everybody on our team. We have some guys that didn't start baseball until baseball season started. So you got to kind of pick and choose kind of what each guy can do each day and where they can start from. Some guys were, arms were good and ready to go because they've been working on the off season, and some kinds, had to take baby steps to start because they either played basketball and that's where their focus was, or they just didn't start until the season started. So health wise, we're good and ready to go. No, not battling any injuries. We were supposed to play a doubleheader this weekend that unfortunately St. Mary's can't play now because of quarantine. We haven't had any quarantine issues yet, so that's always a good thing this time. But yeah, we're just we're waiting to get some games rolling and get some good baseball weather in and kind of hit a groove a little bit instead of playing a game and getting back inside for a couple of days, then playing a game and back inside again. So just waiting for that baseball weather and that baseball groove.
Understandable. Have you guys felt like you've got enough practices in the preseason as far as quality practices?
Well, I guess you could say that. We haven't been outside a whole lot, and actually today was the first day that our indoor cage has been up. So we've been hitting a lot of wiffle balls, man. Don't invite us to your backyard barbecue because we might do pretty well. A lot of wiffle balls up until today, and we finally got our cage up. The guys were excited, and finally just hitting some real baseballs every day, and it's a good feeling.
That's good. That's good.
Yep.
Because of the shutdown, has there been a steeper learning curve for the players this season? Having the year off, and for some of the kids understanding kind of the fundamentals and repetition. Have you guys had to put more emphasis on that this year?
Oh, no doubt about it. I would say we're a very young team. We are predominantly freshmen, sophomores. So then you take, we rely on a bunch of sophomores this year. It's not a secret. So you take those guys losing their freshman year of kind of learning how things are done at the high school level and our program in particular. And without those guys having that year, it is a big deal. And we got to get back to the fundamentals and, making the routine play and, good hard, solid contact, great base running, kind of the simple things that people may overlook in the grand scheme of things when it comes to winning baseball games. So, taking it, back to the fundamentals, you could definitely say that this year. There's no doubt about it.
I can understand that. Let's talk a little bit about your pitching staff. Do you feel like your pitchers, as far as your arm conditioning, is on track? And what is your pitching staff rotation going to look like this year?
Pitchers, okay. So we have our senior pitchers. We have David Teague and Bryce Hall. We have junior Cody Gibson. And those are kind of our guys that have got varsity innings before, and we're going to, give them the shot, obviously, early on. And, David's already thrown in 2 games for us. And Bryce has a start and, didn't get the best defense behind him, but their arms are feeling good. So that's always a good sign. Obviously, early in the season, we're limiting pitch counts. We have some guys that have thrown all winter, whether that's with their summer team or with their personal instructor. So, those guys have a little more leeway. But like I said, we're really limiting and kind of seeing what we got. You never really know what you have pitching wise until those guys get, when the pressure's on and the game is real. It's easy to go in and practice and throw a bullpen with no hitters or a stand-in hitter when nothing's really on the line. But when you get out there in a game and, you fall behind a count or a hitter hits one off you pretty well and, you really got to lock back in and, your breathing's heavy. And we've seen that. And kids, it's good for them to get out there and get used to it, that in-game situation. So, pitching-wise, we're really diced at our last game. We threw 4 different guys, and like I said, it's early in the year, and we're just trying to see what guys can do in-game situations and kind of go from there to see how we're going to, look at our end-of-the-year staff. We're 1-2. We've thrown it really well one game in a 2-1 win over West County. Sophomore Dylan Black went out there and we preached to our guys working ahead in the count, strike one, get ahead. And he did that game. And that was good for our other guys to see who didn't do that so much in our 2 losses. We were behind a lot of 2-0 counts, 3-1 counts. And, it's never, advantageous for the pitcher to be behind in the counts.
Right. Gotcha. How many guys do you know, maybe offhand on your roster, was able to play summer ball this past season?
I would say 4 or 5. I know for sure. A few with the Blazers. Cole Myers plays on a select team out of St. Louis. I'm not sure what his plan is, for the next go around. I think he might be a Legion guy, hopefully, finally, after all these years of trying to get him to do it.
Right.
But yeah, we had 4 or 5 guys, the typical guys that have played baseball growing up every summer too. It's obviously as a program, you want to get as many kids as you can out there playing summer baseball. And that's really a good way to grow your program. And that's kind of a goal for us is trying to find, places for all our young guys to play just so they can keep playing baseball and, just get better. It's a tough game. And if, you just pick it up during the, the high school season, it's very tough to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you feel like some of your strengths are going to be this season? What do you think your individual team's identity is going to look like as far as style of play?
Well, I will say this. We are very lucky behind the plate. We got Cole Myers, who, obviously last year we didn't play a season, but we'll just call him a 4-year starter going out to Jefferson College. And, he's been the best defensive catcher in the county for 4 years, in my opinion. Obviously Coach Bone got to work with him for the first few years he was in school. And, man, the kid is just a game changer as a high school catcher behind the plate. He's, first weekend we played, he threw out all 3 runners that tried to run on him. He's a wall that gives our pitchers confidence to throw off speed pitches. And he's kind of like, the guy you can really just put back there and know what you're going to get out of him. He doesn't take a play off. He just locked in. He loves catching. He's got a passion for it, and we're really lucky to have him. And identity, I tell you what, man, when we throw a pitcher on the mound, our defense could switch 4 or 5 positions. So hopefully our identity by the end of the year is no matter where you're playing, you're happy that you're there, and you're there looking to make plays on defense. We've been struggling a little bit defensively, and we tell our kids everybody loves to hit, okay, but right now we need to find 9 guys that can go play defense, and once we start doing that, we're going to be pretty competitive.
Sounds good. Some good points there. Couple final questions here for you. Maybe name it, if you can, for me, some up and coming athletes that might be poised to have a breakout season for you this season.
I would say, definitely on the mound, Dylan Black went out there against West County. Like I said, a 2-1 win for us. Worked ahead in the count, threw his curveball for strikes when he wanted. He's just a baseball player, man. He loves the game. We got him. We have Ricky Johnson, our starting shortstop. He's another sophomore. Just a kid that loves the game. He plays really well. Trying to get a feel at the plate for, most of our team, not just those guys. Trying to get a feel, obviously. When you start seeing live pitching again for the first time, it's going to take a little bit. We've thrown 2 freshmen out there right away, Devin Black and Jacob Moreland. 3 more sophomores we've put out there. Dylan Jarvis has moved to first base for us as a need, and played it really well. And we're going to see what we got. We got a lot of young dudes, man, out there playing baseball and moving to different spots. We got kids like Jackson Deering who could play shortstop, second base, might have to move to the outfield depending on who's in the mound. And, we're just going to rotate kids around and find out where they're comfortable and find out where our best 9 we can, where they're at.
Well, it sounds good. And it's always good to hear that youth is the key there. You'll be able to, work with them the next couple of years. And final question for you here. And I know that a lot of folks might be wanting to know this. How has the transition gone from, naming Coach Zach Bone over here to Ryan Dickerman? Has the parents and the players, made that transition pretty easily?
Yeah, I think so. I was lucky enough to coach with Zach for, 8 seasons, and, played with him in high school and played against him and played with him in Legion and in college. So, one of my best friends, obviously. And, we were lucky to have him, no doubt about it. He's not a Jeffco, just because. He's a great coach. I think I learned his consistency every day in, day out, whether things were going good, when we had the Jordan Duncans in our program, or when they were going bad, when we were winning 3 and 4 games a year. He never changed. And I think I've really learned that, stay on what you're doing, believe in what you're doing. The outsiders, you mentioned parents, and, God love them, but, you're not always going to hear what you want to hear from parents. And, the best thing to do is probably just not to listen a lot of times, just kind of do what you're doing. And, I've learned that from him. I mean, he had an idea and he went with it, and he always went with what he believed in. And, like I said, we were lucky to have him. And I think that, a lot of him has wore off on me over the years. And I don't think it's a huge transition, but I do. Obviously it is. It's new. And, with everything new, especially high school kids, they'll try to see where they can take advantage. And, I've just been, doing my thing kind of deal. I'm very lucky. I got 4 coaches on staff. Coach Matt Bunch has been with us, since I've been there, but he also has coached since 2003 there when I was in high school playing baseball. So he's back again, year 19, I believe. We have Tyler Whaley back for his 3rd or 4th year. You count COVID. Then we have 2 new coaches, Scott Byrne and Bobby DeMullen. Coach DeMullen's on our football staff, and Coach Byrne, just a volunteer that, comes and gives us time. He was a college pitcher. So I'm really lucky to have those guys. The kids really love them. They know that we love them. And, that makes things easier when you got guys you can count on. But you also got guys that the kids believe in. And that's that's first and foremost a huge thing to have for a new head coach, I guess.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, Ryan, we appreciate you being a part of this and catching up with you on the preview. And we've got you next week against St. Pius. So we'll see you then. And again, catching up with us.
Not a problem. Thank you so much, and thanks for all you do, Ray.
Hey, that's Coach Ryan Dickerman from the Herculaneum Black Cats.